think of like World of Warcraft. They have this massively multiplayer online game, but rather than creating everything you do in the game themselves, they opened that up to third-party developers and said, you go create that.
More than 50 million games have been made on the Roblox studio, of which 5,000 have had more than 1 million plays.
You basically just do it through the digital world, and they've created this gaming engine, which is really the core part of what developers need.
There's a really great article about Roblox. Andreessen put a bunch of money in, and they said, hey, we think this company could be the future of gaming. Really long article, but let's go all the way to this. So if you play this video, this is from Minecraft, which Microsoft bought for $2.5 billion a handful of years ago. But basically, the idea is that you can create worlds, you can create games within the game, and that same concept is in Roblox. Nick, why don't you want to describe it at a high level?
Yeah, so Roblox, I know a little bit about. I have a much younger sibling that plays it, so that's my exposure there. Most of the audience, or the core part of their audience, are basically kind of elementary school to high school kind of age kids, but they do have some following with adults. Basically, Roblox started out as they have a Roblox kind of game engine. They've created a basically massively multiplayer online game and then opened that up to third parties to say, go create other game worlds, go create other games that you can connect to. So the way I would describe it is, think of like World of Warcraft. They have this massively multiplayer online game, but rather than creating everything you do in the game themselves, they opened that up to third-party developers and said, you go create that, and basically turned it into kind of a game store. Or if you've seen Ready Player One or read the book, basically this kind of idea of a metaverse. It's kind of an early stage version of that. You're not like living in it in VR, but basically you go in and other people have created these game worlds. You can buy items that other users have created. You can purchase access to games. So think of it like buying a game through a game store, and then you can go in through the Roblox game world to get access to the other games. So it's this kind of game within a game, and also other people building all these other things and creating basically user-generated content and games within it. So it's definitely a kind of development platform for games, and I think it's been quite successful at that.
Development platform for games, kind of like Ready Player One. I like that. This is a chart of their game hours, monthly hours of playtime, excluding viewers on YouTube or Twitch, right? So it's a nice curve. Everyone wants that curve. But here's the more interesting thing to me. More than 50 million games have been made on the Roblox studio.
Right.
Of which 5,000 have had more than 1 million plays. It's impressive. 1,000 have hit 10,000 concurrent players, and 10 have had more than 1 billion plays. So it's kind of like an app store in and of itself, right? Where you have those big breakaway wins. Much more production than Roblox could have ever just created on its own. Roblox paid $100 million to developers against $500 million in user-generated content-based revenue. Maybe that means paid $100 million to small teams, and then there's another $500 million in the in-game purchases.
There's like these people create clothing and other small items and collectibles that you can use for your character within the game. So there's third-party developers making games, and then there's kind of microtransactions.
Right. So collectively, they're paying out more than $500 million. Seems. I like this. We've talked on the show about what are some other dev platforms that can rise to dominance. We've spoken about the car,
about drones,
and I think this is another one. It's like a video game console within a video game.
I think the analogy I would use is you've seen all these guys trying to move to streaming services. So you had Google Stadia, Microsoft is trying to do this, PlayStation's trying to do this, but really what you're starting to see is it's actually the gaming companies that are doing this already, and you can kind of think of this as a kind of streaming or online access to games. You don't need the physical console to go do it, and you basically just do it through the digital world. And they've created this gaming engine, which is really the core part of what developers need more than the kind of physical hardware standardized to make this successful. And I think that what you might see is a lot of these guys moving in the kind of streaming subscription game direction are not successful, and that this might actually be the model that works. I think you're starting to see Epic moving in this direction with Fortnite. Imagine a world where, for example, the Fortnite kind of Epic Games engine, I think it's Unreal Engine, isn't just used for Fortnite games and Epic Games, but they're opening it up and letting you connect to that through the world of Fortnite. They've already started to tease this with collaborations they do with other partners and kind of make events within the game, as well as like concerts and other things with the game. So they don't need to create all the experiences themselves. They basically created the world and built the consumer audience, and now they could open that up to developers. So there's a handful of folks that basically have the ability to go do this. Rockstar would be another one that I think would be interesting. EA potentially as well.
Grand Theft Auto.
That have that. And then the idea is, can you go create this developer platform and community around it?
And Sony is doing it with, Sony unveiled its Dreams creation platform. Disney tried to do this 7 years ago with this thing called Disney Infinity, which then got shut down a few years later. We've seen a lot of people try. I mean, Minecraft is essentially this that Microsoft bought. And
the analogy the guy uses in this article, which I think is apt, is how he gets into the Disney example, is basically it's like a digital theme park where you can go and interact and play and create all these experiences. The old version of this, or the analog version, is the actual physical theme park. And Disney approached the digital version of it too much like the analog, where everything was controlled and kind of created by Disney. Whereas the ones that are succeeding are much more open and enabling others to go and actually create those experiences.
Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.